here's where you betray yourself as a human sometimes. I saw an article about Donald Trump, seeming to me to be jumping up and down with joy at the fact that we are being smashed at the moment by coronavirus COVID-19. Yeah. So, what you do in those cases is you put your rationality aside and you fire off a few texts to your dialectic partner and you say, "That dirty dog." And then, all your podcasts and everything in which you've been so, zen and rational and all that sort of stuff, you blow them all away and you say, "That dirty dog. I hope he dies." I didn't say that. I thought it. But, look, Donald Trump's, he needs to survive politically. And also he believes in Make America Great, which has got nothing to do with Make Australia Great, but, I don't want someone like that in charge in America. I hope he gets voted out, and that's what I said. But the point is, I got on one of my little rants, and I put logic aside, for a bit. But that makes you human. That makes me like myself more. But anyway, yes, he's a dirty dog. That's about as evil as I get, But inside, I was thinking, how can we get coronavirus going in the White House? No, I didn't think that. Yes, I did. Anyway, but that gives me a chance to, when I say something like that and fire off a series of tweets, he'd sell us down the river, in 5 minutes. We stood side by side with him in 77 wars, That was for self-interest anyway, and I knew that as I was typing it. I knew that bit as I was typing it, but that doesn't matter. The point is, he's no friend of Australia's, because he'd sell us down the river in an instant, and God knows why some Australians, they love him so much. Conservative Australians. I'm a conservative Australian, and I hate him. For obvious reasons. There are some conservative Australians that would love him. I think they'd love him even as he sold us down the river. China offered him an extra $10, and he sold us down the river. And, went into an alliance with President Xi, the bastard, He'd do that. I've got no time for him. I've got no time for anyone who says, "Make America Great." What about your mates, Mates? Yeah. Anyway, there's no mates in geopolitics, I know, but there's alliances. What about all of us white blokes sticking together? That's a joke, okay? It's not quite. The masterpiece. Anyway, so I got on my high horse, and then, as I do, and then I waxed lyrical. We should get the empire back together again. Now that's part jest, part satire, part serious. But I was saying, in the shadow of Brexit, we should get the Commonwealth back together again. Look where it all is, where it's positioned. England, West Indies. Bits and pieces of Africa. We're all over the place. The Commonwealth, India, get them on deck. Blah blah blah. Obviously, my texts don't come out nearly as interesting as my spoken voice and my body language. My texts are boring compared to what you can do with a YouTube clip, as I'm doing now. Texts are a pale, shallow imitation of what you can do in a YouTube clip. This is massively more interesting, believe it or not, than what I achieved in texts this morning. And this is why I've got a problem with social media too. You can't get all this nuance going with the body language and everything, and the laughing and the expressions and all that sort of stuff. You get your point across better, in a YouTube clip. Anyway, so I got on my high horse and I said, oh, we should get the Commonwealth together again, you know. We can't trust America and we can't trust China. And so I got on my high horse with all that stuff. You know, we need another bloc, BLOC, you know, and yeah, and it did have its advantages, you know. There's truth in the silliness, you know. You know, in the shadow of Brexit, it would be good if the Commonwealth kind of drew on its cultural similarities and all that sort of stuff. There's cultural ties, the ties that bind and all that sort of stuff. I do actually think that, you know, we should be, and I think we are, you know, make massive advances, you know, on England, you know, in the shadow of Brexit and saying, come on, let's you know, because when the EU came along, we lost a whole lot of trading with England overnight, you know. They jumped into bed like two-bit hookers, is that all right to say, with Europe, and dumped us at the altar. And it wasn't very good for us, you know, when the EU started. But now the EU's finished, so, you know, we'll say, come back to us, baby. You know, we should do all that stuff, you know. And I was thinking, and you know, in America, the whole black-white thing is just toxic to an extreme level. An Indigenous bloke would say it is here too, but there's something about the history of slavery in America that is, they're not getting over it. It's incurable in a way. When you've turned someone into your possession, when you've owned someone else's soul, that's a very hard thing to reconcile. You know, like we never owned the souls of the Indigenous peoples of Australia and never tried to, but the white Americans, they sought and did. They sought to own the souls of the black people in America, and they did own them. And, you know, that cuts to the very heart and soul of what it is to be a human. Forget about the, you know, look, obviously, you know, look, I'd rather have been a house slave in America than a Pacific Islander on the sugarcane fields of Queensland as an indentured labourer. You know, just on a sort of comfort level and all that sort of stuff, and brutality level and all that sort of stuff. I would have rather have been a house slave in America. But in terms of my soul, I would rather have been a Pacific Islander. Look, it's like, I know it's like, you know, would you rather have leprosy or smallpox? Obviously, but I'm just, you know what I'm saying. Slavery and indentured labour are two different things. Anyway, I reckon we can get over our history, you know, our brutally racist history of indentured labour and all that sort of stuff, better than America can get over its history of slavery. I think we can. So we're better positioned. We should cut America loose. They're not winning on Black Lives Matter, you know. It's too deep. They owned them. It's awful, you know. Anyway, that aside, you know, I'm just not enjoying having anything to do with America at the moment. I don't like them. You know, look, Americans are wonderful people when you meet them. Fantastic people. And, you know, people who have, I haven't travelled to America, but people who travel there, you know, they just, hey, they're just like us. Okay. Yeah, but, you know, in my shed, you know. Well, it's Donald Trump, isn't it? Yeah. I want to, you know, if he were to win, I don't want him to win in November. I hate his guts, I really do. You know, for the purposes of Australia. We could get, look, if America goes great again under Trump financially, he seems to be, you know, I think he's got some economic magic. He's hopeless at managing the virus. He didn't see that one coming. Now, Trump would have been all right, but for the virus. He didn't know how to manage that. He was ill-suited for that one, but he was well-suited in going toe-to-toe with China and all that stuff. But all that aside, I hate the dirty dog. You know, I hope he gets voted out given that coronavirus is around, for example, and the world economy is in a bit of trouble. He loves it when Australia gets coronavirus. Look, probably not personally. He doesn't want to see people die. He's probably an all right sort of guy if I knew him. I don't know him. But the point is, he'd sell us down the river. Anyway, so I got on my high horse and I said, we should get the old empire back together again. But, you know, there's some truth to it, as I said earlier. You know, there's some validity to the idea. New Zealand, Canada, look where all these places are positioned, and they cross over cultures and colours and things. You know, Kenya and, you know, South Africa, these are big places. India, get them all together again. Bangladesh, you know, Pakistan even. You know, it doesn't matter if they've all got independence and all that sort of stuff. Got Muslims, you know. We could even make some approaches to other places, you know, like Egypt or whatever. But the point is, get something like the old Commonwealth back and say, listen, yes, we were arseholes, blah, blah, blah. Of course we were arseholes, but, you know, we have cultural ties, the ties that bind. We have, you know, you all love soccer very much. And just about all of you are obsessed with cricket still. It's relevant. It's not just a ball and a stick. Cricket is much bigger. But it's not just cricket. You know, there's 50 things about everything British that people actually love still, even in India. Language even. You know, I listen to Indians speaking on the BBC, and their command of the English language puts us to shame. They love it. Anyway, we should, you know, I was thinking, we don't want just China and America, is what I was thinking, you know. And what's a really good bloc that could get going as a third bloc, you know. And, you know, there's the EU, and sometimes the AU reckons they can get up there and going. You know, I think, what about the old Commonwealth? Let's go backwards, you know. And so we got chatting about that, my dialectic partner and me, my goddaughter and me, and but I took it too far because I got excited. And that's what you do, you know. You sometimes when you're a human, you leave logic at the door, and you'd say, anyway, look how much we are bonded, you know. 90% of all politics is, you know, driven by cultural ties and all that sort of stuff. That was wrong. You know, self-interest and all that sort of stuff is a powerful driver too. You know, Donald Trump, for example, exemplifies that. And she quickly came back with, no, that's only 10% of it, you know. And she said 40, you know, I can't remember what her breakup was, but it was 50%, you know, human nature. You know, she was saying what drives politics, and 40% cultural difference. You know, is behind politics. You know, people with cultural differences do politics for sure. You know, like I said, and she's right. Donald Trump would do business with China, even though they're culturally completely different. She's absolutely right. And she said, you know, the ties that bind that you're talking about is only 10%. You know, and then later she said, you know, oh, maybe with the old British Commonwealth and all that sort of stuff, maybe it's a bit more. You know, she added 20% or something. You know. All absolutely wise stuff. All right, so this is her being wise and me being on a rant, which I was enjoying, by the way. This is the problem when you're actually enjoying it. And I was going, no, you know, rule Britannia, Britannia. I'm even Irish, but it's fun anyway. No, anyway. But she was right on all of that. And immediately I said, yes, all right. I like your percentages better. Yeah. And then we got on to a chat about what is culture anyway, and into the definition of all of that. And again, I think she shot me down a fair bit there too, because I disregarded human personal survival, individual personal interests. Yeah, and the extent to which that drives politics. I was saying, all culture then, I was a sort of way of life, culture. I said all of that, everything is that, isn't it? And I forgot about selfishness, personal interest, human nature, as I think she was calling it. And I think she's right, 50%'s down to that as well. I can't untangle human nature and culture very easily. Our social behaviour, which is culture, and our personal self-interest, But I think her model is really good. 50-50, whatever. It doesn't really matter what the percentages are. 60-40, I think she said 50-50 maybe. 60-40 this way, 40-60 that way, if we're all British, whatever, blah, blah, blah. Really, look, this is one of those ones where I went with the emotional. That dog, Donald Trump. I hope he gets voted out. I actually still think that. I hope he does. He's a pig. And I know where he's coming from. He's not probably a pig personally. He might be an alright sort of guy, but, the way he has to be, in order to survive politically and to make America great, I can't see that being a good formula for Australia, unless it's some accidental knock-on effect. America goes great, so we go great on their coattails, through no design of Donald Trump's and all that sort of stuff. But, alright, I can see that, but I just don't like him. Trouble is, I don't like Biden either. Trouble is, I don't like American politics. Trouble is, I don't like Republicans at all and everything the Republicans stand for. And I don't like the Democrats at all and everything that the Democrats stand for. I like, our Liberal Party here in Australia. And I like our Labor Party here in Australia. And I hate the Democrats and I hate the Republicans. Oh, we should get the old empire back together again. Rule Britannia. Britannia rule the waves. Oh, well, I ended up with an episode out of my chat with my goddaughter this morning, and that was that, and that was it.